Pauline has become a breakout star in recent years, even though she is, technically, as old as Mario. She's all over the place these days, but other than 1981 and 1994, she had mostly been off the radar. Pun intended. Until her big comeback in 2017 as mayor of New Donk City in Super Mario Odyssey. Her performance was the highlight of the game, tying her past self in Donkey Kong to the new Pauline we see today. We all remember that original outing back in 1981. The game turned Mario into Nintendo's trademark character, and they never looked back. It almost didn't happen. Even the original idea of Donkey Kong itself was only thought up after the failure of a game called Radar Scope, which demanded a quick replacement. Donkey Kong was supposed to be a game based on Popeye, a character that was rather popular in Japan and had a resurgence in the US, thanks to the feature film starring Robin Williams, himself a later confessed Nintendo fan.
Zelda. Oh, that was the best.
Zelda.
That was the one I played, initially when the first systems came out. How you doing? I need a joystick.
Popeye would come down the line later, but only after Nintendo proved the concept could make money. Seeing Donkey Kong and Popeye side by side, it's pretty clear. Donkey Kong is Bluto, Mario is Popeye, and Pauline is Olive Oil. Initially, only Donkey Kong received a proper name. Based on King Kong, it was clear what the story was about. According to gamer lore, the donkey part comes from a Japanese-English dictionary. Shigeru Miyamoto used this word thinking it accurately conveyed stubborn or stupid. Knowing how bad translations can be, I tend to believe it, even though this legendary dictionary has never been found. Mario, at one time, was called Jumpman. Pauline's original moniker was Lady. Again, in English, it just doesn't work. These names were used in the arcade Donkey Kong, though only printed on cabinet instructions. When DK proved to be a massive hit, a change was needed. Jumpman became Mario. His namesake was the landlord of Nintendo's rental properties. It's been documented multiple times and generally accepted as true. Donkey Kong Jr. arcade cabinets and everything afterwards used our hero's correct name. Pauline was not in that game and would not be in any others for quite a while. However, Donkey Kong was running so hot, it would soon spin off into toys, a breakfast cereal, and a cartoon show as part of Saturday Supercade. Lady was given a real name, Pauline. But what led to that decision? There are two theories. Keeping with the silver screen motif, Pauline goes back to a silent film actress named Pearl White. Yes, that was her real name. Truly one of the first stars of the medium. Throughout the 1910s, Pearl White starred in several damsel in distress short films and serials. Many of these had White in dangerous situations, performing the stunts herself. Most of her films are considered lost, but her most well-known work that has survived is a serial called The Perils of Pauline. Debuting in 1914, the star character, Pauline, is set to receive a large inheritance upon her marriage to her fiancé, Harry. Until that time, the money is in the care of her father's secretary, Raymond Owen. Hey, we're learning about escrow! Before the nuptials, Pauline sets out on a year-long adventure, which she will then write about in a series of books. Raymond Owen is not an honest broker. He wants the money for himself and tries to turn Pauline's adventures into disasters to have her disappear for his own financial gain. The series ran for 20 installments. Only a truncated version survives today. Each episode had a self-contained premise. Pauline gets kidnapped by pirates or taken away in a hot air balloon. At the end of each film, she's rescued from her perils, and after having this happen over and over again, gives up her dreams, gets married, and receives her inheritance. The Perils of Pauline was so popular that Pearl White started a new serial, The Exploits of Elaine. Imitators also got on the bandwagon. From then on, every damsel in distress film could be traced back to Pearl White's portrayal of Pauline. As films transitioned to sound, Pearl White found her career in decline, like many actors and actresses of the silent era. Her final work, a 1924 French film, Terror, was marketed in the US as The Perils of Paris. After retirement, Pearl's health declined. She passed away in 1938 at the age of 49. Things always have a way of coming back. The Perils of Pauline received a remake in 1933, a lengthy serial just like the original. The talkie was slightly different, with Pauline receiving more character development and more thrilling adventures. In 1947, the life of Pearl White was told in a biographical film based on true events, The Perils of Pauline. Some exaggerations from this movie still survive, like the often used scene of a girl being tied to railroad tracks by a dastardly ne'er-do-well. That never actually happened in any of Pearl White's films, but it demonstrates the popularity of the 1947 Perils of Pauline, keeping White's films and portrayals in the public consciousness. VHS releases around the world decades after the fact, along with other films unrelated to the original serial, also titled The Perils of Pauline, serve as reinforcement. Now, the other theory. Pauline got her name from Paulie James, the ex-wife of Don James, the warehouse manager at Nintendo of America in the 1980s. He has said as much in interviews.
And so after we named Mario, Mr. Arakawa thought it'd be really funny to name the heroine, the female character in the game, Pauline, which was actually taken from my girlfriend's name, and so she eventually became my wife. So effectively, Pauline's named after my ex-wife.
The girl actually was kind of a faux pas because our president, Mr. Arakawa, thought that my wife at the time was named Pauline, but she was actually named Polly, but he named her after my ex-wife, Pauline.
So why not just call her Paulie? Why tie this character's name to a series of films that are very similar to the situation she finds herself in? There's also this. Nintendo Power covered the classic NES series for the Game Boy Advance in July 2004. With Donkey Kong being one of the games, the coverage mentioned Pauline, saying, "Since the silent movie era, Pauline has been a popular name for a woman in peril." However, Mario's Pauline was never tied to railroad tracks. The same article was published in Club Nintendo, the official Nintendo magazine in Mexico, as well as a few other nations in Central and South America. Information was often shared across the Rio Grande. Club Nintendo went one step further in September 2006 in a feature covering Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2, March of the Minis. Club Nintendo made it clear. Pauline's name originates from a film series called The Perils of Pauline, which featured a damsel in constant distress. Talk about nailing it. Let's not forget that this is a magazine that covered other news that the English Nintendo Power didn't touch for many years, or ever in some cases. Club Nintendo broke the news of Chris Houlihan in A Link to the Past, years before anyone up north. We take that as gospel, so why not this? As someone who played the original Donkey Kong all those years ago, all I can say is that it's great to see Pauline make a comeback, not just as a character in need of rescue, but becoming a full-timer on the main roster. Yet I can't help but look at her get-up in Super Mario Odyssey and think that this modern makeover is just setting the record straight, leaving no daylight between the questions of Pauline's origins and the truth.